And welcome everybody here to another edition of the Mass Steel Podcast here. Because Brett Richie's, we got a lot to get store here. Once again, thank you everybody for your patience as I will be heading out to training camp in the next few days, beginning on Saturday morning, going to Pennsylvania, St. Vincent College. My first time ever gonna be able to get a good look in person right now. As everybody's heard the biggest news of the day yesterday, Joe Hayden limping off the field and being carted off with an apparent injury. It turned out to be a minor ankle injury, and we'll see how long that keeps him on the shelf. But we're going to get into Joe Hayden. How much significant impact does he have on here? Plus, we also got a new Steeler here that's been signed up to today, as they were able to sign former 2018 undrafted free agent. Talk about none other than quarterback Trevin Mathis, as right now as he's looking to find a home right now with the Steelers right now. I don't know if he's going to be able to make a roster at all, but Trevor Mathis, he's a guy who went unsigned last year with the Minnesota Vikings. Give you guys a little bit of brief history on him as we look at it. And I don't know if that's just more of a reaction to Joe Hayden possibly going down and trying Mike Tomlin to give some guys some more reps. I mean, the truth of the matter is, when everybody looks at it, as it was being reported, that it wasn't expected for Joe Hayden to be starting the first couple games anyway. He was to be used sparingly, pretty much more so in practice. And I think which is a good move. But I mean, at the same time, too, I mean, it is the physical football, one of the toughest sports, obviously, to stay a little bit healthy in throughout the year. And you got to wonder right now, I'm sure there's going to be some Mike Tomlin critics out there saying, I mean, what are you doing to our guys already, like having our guys getting hurt at the start of time? But I tell you what, I think the biggest thing right now, if it's a minor injury, I let him sit up until maybe the last game of the season. You still want to get some reps in. I know there's still a little bit of hesitation when you don't want to see anyone get hurt throughout the preseason. You want to keep them in good shape throughout the regular season. But at the same time, you still want to give them a decent amount of reps. You want to make sure there's still some rhythm going in here. And again, I find it a little bit sad and bad timing just about when we tracked this story the last week or two that Joe Hayden's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, they were pretty confident they were going to be getting a deal close to keep Hayden around. And there's reports out there that it was going to keep him past the 2021 NFL season. And when you think about it right there, I think right there, when you think about it, I think right now with the Steelers, their situation, when you look at it, on it, I think you got to be a little bit more careful right now at this point in time. I mean, like I said, they were able to free up some money last week. I forget who exactly's money they were able to convert, but they're able to turn it into, like, take some of their money and put it, like, I think, into a signing bonus where they were able to free up a little bit of guaranteed, free up some more money in the cap space. As of right now, they got over $5.21 million in cap space, so they got a little bit of flexibility right now. But I will say right now, before we kick off things a little bit, we're going to get into this a little bit later on, as we're looking at it, I want to ask you guys right now, Joe Hayden, with his injury being significant, do you guys think that Mike Hilton should get the money right now? I mean, this is another guy who signed his tender, about a few weeks back when you look at it. And this is a guy right now who's definitely been stepping up tremendously for the Steelers, doing everything they asked, his third year in the league. And I really don't believe someone like that, he needs to get rewarded at a certain point in time. Because I think Mike Hilton, who's definitely been a true ball hawk on this team, along with Joe Hayden, and I gotta definitely feel like Joe Hayden's definitely helped give some pointers more so even after the preseason, because he was one of the standouts from 2 years ago. And Hilton's just incredibly amazing, just a hustler, a worker, very, very dedicated, very loyal to this team. And you think about it too, I think the only thing is right now where I look at Joe Hayden, I start to just wonder, is it something where the Steelers are going to probably have to wait to when his contract expires, then probably go back to the bargaining table. Do you hold off right now? Do you wait and see what happens this year with the team? I think that's my question right now for right now. But say you, if you guys want, feel free to leave a comment. You can search Meta Steel Podcast by going on Facebook, searching at Meta Steel Nation, capital M, capital S, or you can just type in Meta Steel Podcast. I'm also streaming live right now currently on Instagram, Meta Steel Nation, and of course my YouTube channel, Meta Steel Podcast, as we get into it, as we continue to get a little bit more closer to the Steelers' first ever preseason game, which kicks off tomorrow, and that's going to be against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that's going to be a home game, and that game is going to be on NFL Network, and it's going to be on at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time for those of you watching now, and of course, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time. But like I said, I think the biggest thing right now, like I said, storyline right now, like I said, Joe Haden, I'm a little bit adamant right now he's going to be missing a chunk of games throughout the season. We're going to get to that a little bit later on here on Fair or Foul when we look at it. But like I said, I think the biggest thing for right now, where you really got to think about things, you got to keep things in perspective, is that the Steelers right now, what do you start to do to keep focus on this team? And you always hear Mike Tomlin say, another man's loss is another man's misfortune. And pretty much Mike Tomlin, who was actually being interviewed not too long ago, about 2 days ago on NFL Network, he was talking to Michael Irvin and Judy Batista, and definitely had some good, interesting, fresh take comments here. When we look at it, we're going to play the audio here in just a second. But yeah, I definitely feel right now where you look at, and Michael Irvin posed up an interesting question to Coach Tomlin. I want you guys to take a listen to this. He was always wondering about how Tomlin was able to kind of keep the focus of this team and the talent he has around him. I want you guys to take a listen to this a moment. And here, this was brought to you by an NFL Network. When NFL Network was in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, St. Vincent College, here's a question posed from the playmaker, former Dallas Cowboy, 3-time Super Bowl champion, Michael the Playmaker Irvin. Take a listen. Yeah, and of course that was Michael Irvin. That was Michael Irvin asking Tomlin how guys step up and play well, and you heard Mike Tomlin's response. And just definitely very game faced on, as you can always imagine, with Tomlin. Definitely always keeping his poker face on, and just always find a way to push the right buttons. If you ask me, throughout the season, I mean, no matter what they do, it may seem like a lot, like concerns, controversy, or whatever. But I mean, at the same time, one thing you gotta look at a guy like Mike Tomlin, who's actually in his 13th season right now. By the way, to keep this team focused and more together on the goal at hand. I think the biggest thing when you look at it is that they do realize you can only deal with the cards that are dealt to you at this point in time, which I really think that is the standard's always going to be the standard at the end of the day. Mike Tomlin has found the ways to come up with big time genius plays, if you ask me. I mean, as far as maintaining focus and composure. So, like I said, I think right now this is definitely something we cannot fall asleep on. I mean, Mike Tomlin's not going to fall asleep with the wheel on, but I definitely do realize he recognizes how important it is to keep these guys focused in that locker room, the team chemistry more so stronger than ever at this point in time. How you just manage to not lose track of the goal and just really continue to be a master-minded crafter as far as just maintaining focus. But anyway, let's get back to right now. About Mathis right now. He is an undrafted free agent for Toledo. And right now, he's going to be joining fellow teammates on the team when you look at it as you take a look. 'Cause remember, they were able to sign him off waiver wires, and they had to make room on the roster by releasing and waiving injured running back Ralph Webb. And right now, he joins fellow Toledo players like Ola Adeni and Deontay Johnson in the uniforms right now. And like I said, I'm not too sure how much the timetable what it is going to be that he's going to be able to make this team or not. But I will say this, like I said, I think right now you definitely want to show some reps into that. But I tell you what, I mean, if there's one thing I wish the NFL would consider, like in their next CBA, not to go off top here, folks. I know they just recently had the AAF that pretty much did not last long this year. And I'm not in the NFL right now. What I wish I would like to see happen, even though you're having a 53-man roster throughout the years, what I really think they should consider doing one day is do this. Do like the NBA, do like baseball, and of course like hockey in these situations where you keep it going head to head. The only thing is where if you want to televise these games still, you want to still keep it active and take a risk and do it like maybe like on a Friday night. You do this AAF league. You keep it as your minor league system. Then if there's someone that gets injured on the roster, you want to release or waive someone, you can call someone up from that system depending on how well their performance is doing. Say you guys, what do you think? Do you think the NFL should implement a minor league system like the AAF, have it go on the same time when the NFL is going on? Then you can have like talent you can call up in situations like this. I think that may not be a bad idea. Say you. Again, you can hit me up on Twitter at Project Richie. You can also check me out on Instagram, Men of Steel Nation, and of course, YouTube channel, Men of Steel Podcast. Now, there was also another question that was posed here in cap. It was also by Julia Batista, let's not forget, who was also talking to Mike Tomlin, and she was asking them about like how they were handling like the distractions or whatever, and like going into this year. Take a listen to what Julie Batista had to ask Mike Tomlin. Here's Mike Tomlin's response. Yeah, and that was a good question, right? And yeah, that was a good question right there by Julie Batista. She was asked about how they're going to be doing on the offense. We heard a lot of talk about the defense, but like I said, I mean, like Tomlin made an interesting point. We can't control like the questions that are going to be asked, but we can control our actions right there. And I think that was very noble right there. It was a fun day to like take a fly on the wall and listen to him on training camp at that point in time as we get ready to see things. But I tell you what, right now, I think that's always going to continue to be like the high level expectation he holds to his team, the accountability level that he wants to restore, and what once was. I mean, right now, everything is a lot on the line this year, I think, for a lot of people. I mean, Mike Tomlin, he's definitely safe for right now, probably more than likely for 2020-21. But at the same time, it's like a wrestler named Sting once said before, if there's one thing that's for sure, is that nothing's for sure. I think that's one thing we got to definitely keep in mind right here as we look at it throughout this process. Is just that they got to be able to control their actions and not worry about too much the questions they could control. The media is always going to be in their face, checking in on them, and I think that's going to be a big time thing right there. So I just wanted to say that there's some cool stuff right there, and when we look at it. But anyway, moving forward, now let's get ready to go. It's the fair or foul right here now as we get ready to move a little bit closer here on the Men of Steel podcast. Let's get some hot button topics as we get ready to start off here. I just want to say thank you very much to those of you joining me right now on the Men of Steel podcast during the summertime as we get as we inch a little bit more closer to the start of preseason and then less than a month away from the regular or about less than a month away from the regular season. So definitely some fun stuff to tackle down. All right, let's get into topic number one. Fair or foul? Joe Hayden will miss a big chunk of games to start the regular season. I'm gonna have to say for right now, I'm gonna have to say foul, only because it's still wait and see right now. We still have to find out what the reports are gonna be. More likely, there's some people speculating within the Pittsburgh media, NFL Network, were saying that they're gonna probably find out some more answers like after the press conference. That was alluded by Steelers live host as well as silent reporter Missy Matthews, who was on with Bob Labriola yesterday, and they were talking about it. And yeah, I think that's probably like one thing they'll know for sure. I mean, right now, Mike Tomlin, he ain't, him. He's not going to give like a ideal status. He doesn't like to like make predictions or anything of that nature. But he is going to give their information that's currently available on hand at that point in time when you look at, and that's what you can expect. Not really much of a surprise there. But I think Joe Hayden, like I said, it's sports. When you start hitting your 30s, it's a lot more different to keep that level of focused expectations, the adrenaline, and like the high energy you're able to try to continue to produce on a night in, night out basis, especially on Sundays or primetime stages when you look at throughout the season. I think that's one thing you have to be very leery of. You don't want, like I said, that's one thing I always appreciate about Mike Tomlin is that he is always on guard. I mean, he doesn't want to like say anything that's going to be coming out a little bit controversial. Obviously, people are always going to judge him at the end of the day, but I'm going to say foul for right now until we hear a word on what's his current progress, what the doctors will say, and then just go through the timeline from there, what kind of treatment he has to go through. But I hope it's not a possibility where he misses the first game against the Patriots. That's definitely one game you want to keep on. But which also brings me to my next point. Fair or foul topic number two. Are the Steelers making a mistake by not saying the Patriots name? I am going to have to say fair for right now. Only reason why I say that, because let's face it, Joe Hayden was a big factor in that last win against the Patriots late last season when they needed a win. Even though they lost the division eventually, lost to the Saints a week later. You got to remember, Joe Hayden was finally available. I mean, he wasn't available the first time when they faced the Patriots. I mean, in that season. And when you look at it right now, the Steelers, I mean, other than that, without Joe Hayden, I mean, when you think about things, they're 4-2 without him in the lineup. Not bad. But you also got to remember, too, Ryan Shazier was also a good pass defender, too, as well as inside linebacker position. But like I said, going as far back to the Patriots, I think you don't want to like make a mistake and feel like you're ignoring them. Of course, they're going to acknowledge them in preparation, but I think the approach they're taking, this is the approach you want to take. I mean, where you want to go back to, like the AFC Championship game from a couple of years ago, about 3 years ago, where Antonio Brown went on social media, he'll take the locker room, and it ruffled a lot of feathers the wrong way from the media and fans looking at him, maybe some teammates, just a little disappointment. After like winning a tough, grueling battle against the Chiefs, and you had that happen. And I'm not gonna lie to you, when I saw that, I kind of knew it was gonna probably be eventually game over. Not because of Antonio Brown, but just the mental makeup itself already. That was an example right there. Is that you really think that you guys are gonna be going out there and letting the Patriots know your intentions? That's one thing. It's like when you get into a fight. I mean, it's like it's one thing to talk the talk, but you gotta walk the walk. And with the Patriots, like I said, key players are key players at the end of the day. No matter what Mike Tomlin says about another guy's lost man's opportunity is another guy's misfortunes is another man's opportunity. Star players are still star players. Contributors are still key contributors, no matter how you slice it. And you want to have those key components around, no matter at the point in time when you really think about things and when you really start to look at it. But yeah, I definitely feel like right now, where you look at it, you have to be a little bit careful. You want to make sure that he's got to do whatever proper rest he needs to take. If he's good enough to go where he can get a few reps in, maybe like a little bit of a preseason game, just get some warm up and make sure you're not going in there slouching. I think I'm all for it for right there. Let's also get the fair foul topic number 3. Olasakanye Adeni becoming the next James Harrison. I'm gonna have to say foul on that one for right now. I mean, definitely he's finishing a lot more. Mike Tomlin's been saying. This is an article that was written by Jim Wexell of 247 Sports, which also Brian DiArdo writes a lot of articles on for the Steelers on that site. But he was saying right now, as far as like with it, and one of the biggest comments too, when you look at it, I think right now that was the biggest thing that stood out was that he was able to finish his tackles. And right now, and one of the biggest things right there, like I was also saying that Adani was also flashing and showing some bursts and finishing some rushes. I mean, I think the burst to me is definitely a big thing, a big component of that too. I mean, and just the flashiness, how you're able to just not only start, but like how they always say, how you finish is also really important at that point in time. And I really believe that. I mean, when you also really look at it that way, I mean, that's how James Harrison was too when he was in his peak shape. He was quick, he was fast, he was to the point, but still wait and see. James Harrison done it for a lot more longer. I was also eventually 2-time Super Bowl champion and defensive player of the year. Don't want to put pressure on the guy that easily yet, but it was still a situation. I believe James Harrison did go undrafted. I mean, when you look back at his career and how he started off, I mean, his career, when you really look at how it was all said and done, when we really think about it. But he did go undrafted in the 2002 draft. And then he was also trying to, he spent 2 years on the practice squad and was released 3 times within that span. And then he was a Raven briefly for a little bit. Then eventually went to the Steelers, and then things took off from there little by little. Pretty much towards the end of Bill Cowher's run as coach. I mean, more so in his final season when you look at it. But yeah, I think for right now, it's definitely, I'm not going to say it's a lot of shoes to fill, but I don't want to put necessarily a promise and expectation on too quick that he's going to be this guy. And guess what? He's still got ways of catching up. Let's not forget that real quick. So that's going to be it for this edition right here of the Mess Field Podcast. Just want to say thank you for everybody for taking the time to tune in as we look at things. But right now, like I said, I mean, definitely get ready to see them take it on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers tomorrow. That's going to be right there, a 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time kickoff, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, excuse me, and 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time. I forgot that confused with their time zone, so that was my fault. Ownership on that, but going up against the team who was 5-11 last year, last place in the NFC South. Definitely looking for some better improvement going forward as we look at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're being head coached right now by Kirk Carter, looks like. They got Todd Monken as their offensive coordinator and Mark Buckner as defense coordinator, along with Mike Smith on there, who also used to be a former Falcons coach. So definitely be an interesting dynamic right there. But I see in the first season, I mean, many people are looking at Josh Dobbs as possibly still improving. Bob Lavarilla doesn't think he's doing that bad. I think it's just the only thing is like with Mason Rudolph, there seems to be said that he's being a little bit more on point, but his throw is a little bit more actually a lot more confidence. That's tell the tape. But I tell you what, Josh Dobbs right now, like I said, let's give him a little bit of a fair shake here. I mean, obviously his biggest moment of his career was coming in for Ben Roethlisberger in that Ravens game on the road in Baltimore, threw a nice big strike to count a first down, and I think that was a basically one game-saving play of the game when you really think about it. Alex thing right there that helped him to win in Baltimore. Not too often you see him pulling off after losing the first one at home and having to go take your working orders right there and go in Baltimore and try and steal one here. And that's one thing I thought was very impressive right there. It was very encouraging. But like I said, at that point in time, you got to be like more on your A game right now, and just to be the guy to be pulling the playbook right there behind Ben Roethlisberger and assisting with some stuff. I mean, that's gonna be a big thing right there. But like I said, I like what Dobbs is doing too. But I'm probably going to predict. I'll probably say Mason Rudolph wins that job, and I think it's got to come down to accuracy. That's the biggest thing. I think completion percentage to be the main difference between the two, and we'll see what happens. But other than that, I want to say thank you very much, everybody, to the Mess Deal podcast. Hope you guys like the new intro to the show. Just worked on it a couple days ago. Going to be having some more stuff, more content coming up. So trying to keep up with my friend Brian Diarlo right now. And I want to say a special congratulations to my comrade here, Brian Diarlo, fellow friend and colleague, you could say in a way, but who started a new job right now, CBSSports.com. And just Brian, just want to say keep up the great things, and definitely a pleasure staying in touch with you. And you can follow him on Twitter at Brian Diarlo, a very friendly guest of the show, and available. And we'll talk Steelers and some NFL season with him. As I always leave you, don't be trolling, be rolling. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. I gone.